good about me? I like to have fun.
Me too.
I like to have a good time.
Matt's a fun guy. All right, cool. We have him on the phone. Demetrious Johnson. Hello, sir.
You're late. You're 15 minutes late.
No, we were on time. They said that you were running behind.
What? No.
That was what they told us. We tried you before.
Yeah, we're gonna start this interview with you reprimanding us. How you feeling? How you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling good. I feel good, man. Just you know, it is fight week. You know, just getting the weight off and staying sharp and just doing the best I can.
Now, I know you're such a gamer. Do you bring your game console with you, Xbox and whatnot? Do you bring that with you when you're fight week?
Yeah, I have my PC right here. I was playing a little bit something this morning.
Did you mess around with that new Nintendo Switch or no? You ever play with that?
I got that here too.
How is that thing? Is that fun?
I like it, man. I mean, they only have a couple games out for it, so other than that, it's pretty unique thing. You know, you could play high quality games on the handheld and on the plane. So I like that. That's one thing I like about it.
Wait, which one is the Switch? Because I played one of those. I played Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda: The Breath of the Wild is the one that's on the Switch.
Oh, that is on the Switch. Yeah, we played that on the radio show, and I stunk at it. I have zero. I couldn't do anything. I was just running around that dumb castle, jumping up and down, and I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't find the steps. Monsters were chasing me. I was not good.
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's a talent.
And you're very talented. From what I hear, you're very talented at video games. Let me ask you your preference with the consoles out of consoles.
Console.
That's what I said.
No?
Councils. Give me some counsel on the consoles.
Yeah, it's attorneys.
It's just my
right. I mean, they're all good depending on what you want to play. You know, the Nintendo is more for family based, and you have the Xbox and PS4. They almost do identically the same. Or you go to the PC route where you can just have a PC and play PC games.
Now, my friend of mine used to love those. Isn't it harder to operate when you're hitting the keys on a PC?
No. You can actually plug in an Xbox One or a PS4 controller to the PC via USB now. So there's some games you want to play, keyboard and mouse, and there's some games you want to play controller.
Now, you're a much younger guy than me. Do you remember, would you go to the arcades when you were a kid, or when you were younger, was it already having games that you played at home?
No. I went to the arcade to play a lot of games that you couldn't play at home.
What did you play? I remember being in the arcade. For me, it was Asteroids. Do you remember Asteroids in the arcade?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, they actually had those in arcades, believe it or not.
I know. I was in when I was 10 years old or 13. I was in the newspaper. I played for 10 hours on one quarter. 1981, the year that the San Francisco 49ers played the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I played for 10 hours on a corner. I got my local paper.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I was wearing a hat. I looked like Adrian from Rocky. I had glasses. It was really creepy.
That's pretty impressive. 10 hours on one quarter, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was it's one of the highlights of my life. It was my first piece of press. What was your arcade game when you'd go?
Oh, man, there were so many of it. There was Primal Rage, Killer Instinct, Turtles in Time. I mean, I would go all the time. Extra for Street Fighter, Guilty Gear. I played a lot of games at the arcade when I was out.
Were you competitive with it? Because there's a great thing, a movie called a documentary called The King of Kong, where these video gamers, man, these guys are taking for it is like a world championship. They don't fuck around. Did you were you like that, or did you see these documentaries?
Oh yeah, I've seen these documentaries for it. I was a little bit like that, not like to those guys' things. I played it for the more of the enjoyment and a pastime while I'm always at the mall shopping. But yeah, I've entered just some arcade tournaments and never won any of them, but it's always fun to try.
Now, you're coming off a unanimous decision win over Tim Elliott. Was he a little tougher than you expected in that first round?
No, not at all. I know Tim Elliott was tough, and he has a lot of heart. I mean, I've seen him fight a lot of guys in the UFC, from Dotson to Joseph, and I think all those guys had the same trouble. And no, he's a tough guy. He's big for the weight classes, big for weight class too.
Okay. And what do you feel about your fight with Wilson Hayes this Saturday?
I feel it's gonna be a great fight. Wilson, he's a tough guy. He comes from a great camp, great jiu-jitsu background, great wrestler, and looking to get in there and mix it up.
Now, what do you think about a fight? Let's just say, I know you never want to look beyond the fight you're fighting, especially when it's in 4 days. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you do win the fight. What do you see as a next step? It's almost hard to fight. You're cleaning out the division. Like there's not many people left to fight you. Are you going to have to start either having people come down or you go up to fight outside the division?
I don't know yet. We got a big task ahead this Saturday, and we'll see. I'll sit down with my coaches to see what happens next. Obviously, I'm going to stay down at 125 and we'll see what the UFC is. There's a lot of new top prospects coming up, and my job is to be ready to fight them and beat them.
Now, Cody Garbrandt has suggested that he would move down to flyweight to fight you. If in fact you are going for your 11th straight defense, if again this one works out as you plan it to work out. What do you think of him as a potential opponent from what you've seen? I mean, he's a very, very good fighter.
Very good fighter, man. He just won the belt at 135. He got a tough task ahead of him. Gets TJ Dillashaw, which that's no joke at all.
Sure.
And he's a great fighter. It's going to all come down to I'm sure he can make the weight, but can he perform at the weight? An extra 10 pounds. Extra 10 pounds is a lot of weight. And you don't get the IV band. You don't get the IV hydrate. So if he was to make the weight, then I guess we will be getting him up, and we'll see what happens if we ever step in the octagon together.
Now, if you do win this fight, you're going to tie Anderson's consecutive title defense record at 10. What is it like? When you're fighting for the belt, when you're going for the belt, there's this drive to get to it. I'm sure that there's this incredible goal. Now you've reached the goal, and you're in your 10th defense. How do you motivate yourself to continue with the same hunger? I mean, and I know you're the champion, you want to keep the belt, but how do you motivate yourself to fight the way you've been fighting?
Well, this is how I get paid. This is what I've always, when it's my job, I do my job at the best of my ability and stay focused on the task at hand. So for me, I got great coaches behind me, Matt and Brad Kirchen. They're always changing it up for me, making it fun, making me always learn, and I'm able to ask questions. And so when I go out there and execute my game plan, it's just nice to see that the stuff we've been working on in the gym is always working.
Well, because I think it was Dominic Cruz said something to that effect after he lost to Cody Garbrandt about now I get to refocus or have a goal. I forget what it was, but he was alluding to the fact now there's something else to fight for, to achieve. And I was just wondering if that became more difficult. Or do you start looking ahead? Like, you must be aware of the fact that you're going to tie Anderson's record if you win this. So does that become something that motivates you? Like, okay, there's the mountain I'm going to go for. I'm going to try to get to that. Do you constantly need some kind of a mountain in front of you that you have to climb?
No, I've always been a self-motivator, whether there's a mountain in front of me or not. I'll find something to, I got a family, and that's a huge motivation for myself. I'm 30 years old. I want to have a successful career. You hear all these guys who fight in UFC and have careers, and when they're done with it, they have nothing to look back on. They end up being broke. So for me, my motivation is to make sure when I'm done, I have a successful UFC career. I got, money in the bank. I got to worry about anything, and I can start doing other things that I'm passionate about.
My mother was very good with money, and she always taught me not to screw around. So I was pretty smart when I started making money. So have you learned from the mistakes of other fighters or other performers that they just blow it, and then when they're 35, they have nothing?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Basketball players, football players, musicians, actors. I think there's somebody in every outlet that's done that, and I think it's good to read about them and educate yourself, how they went broke, and they weren't managing their money, they had somebody else managing their money, and it's always good to read about those.
Well, I have an accountant. He does my taxes. But I have power of attorney. I don't get power of attorney to anybody. I got to sign all checks, and that's where these guys get in trouble. Is they let someone else sign their checks, and these guys make shitty investments, and they have control of their money, and then they go and ask for some money, and they're like, "Well, no, you have $200 in the bank." So I'm like, "What the fuck happened?"
Yeah, it happens. It happens, man.
So what do you look at beyond fighting? Like, there's got to be other things you enjoy. Of course, your focus is fighting now. You're arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I think you're underrated. I think just because you beat somebody, you're like an institution. You're like U.S. Steel. You're just the guy who wins. You're the champ. People take for granted that you're the champ. What do you look at beyond fighting that interests you, besides games or a way you could do something after fighting?
Obviously it's going to be more in the gaming world, but let's say the game is help work out. I believe I can go into health and nutrition, even though I have a nutritional background or college degree. But just helping people realize that you can be fit while enjoy eating. Looking at the easier way to do it. I have a huge passion for that, where you can, the type of things you put in your body and the way it makes your body change and how you feel. It's something I've always enjoyed doing as well.
And it's amazing how many guys, too, have gotten in trouble recently, whether it was with little USADA pops and this stuff. And, how do you avoid any of that happening, from accidentally taking something or other guys say that they take something that they didn't know was tainted? How paranoid do you get about that, or about accidentally testing positive or something?
There's always, as an athlete, you're always going to feel when you get the drug test, you're always going to be sweating bullets just because you just never know, man. I mean, you can pop for eating, meat from other countries. Not that I have, but, a guy popped and he had some of the meat in China. So, I mean, with that fact, I try to eliminate everything. I eliminate all, like, the protein. I don't take any whey protein or anything like that. And that kind of helps me eliminate all that stuff or me potentially popping. I don't take dick pills. I'm a married man. I have 2 children. My penis works just fine. I'm 30 years old. So other than that, man, I mean, these guys are asking for it. When you're putting those type of substance in your body, you're asking for it.
Even if your dick works, brother, I'll say this to all the guys out there. Mine works okay, but sometimes you just want a little extra oomph.
You want to supersize it.
Sometimes I just want a reminder she didn't make a mistake by showing up.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with it. Now, how about Brad Pickett retired after a great career? He's one of your only 2 losses, him and Dominic Cruz. And what were your thoughts on him overall as a fighter and as a guy in the sport? He's pretty well liked.
Yeah, Brad Pickett's awesome, man. He was, like you said, my first loss. Learn a lot from him, learn a lot from watching his career, and it's just crazy. Here's another guy who's had a successful career, and, I hope he was smart with his money. I hope he, bought a house, invested it, and all that stuff. That way, in 5 or 6 years, I don't want him, saying, I didn't make that much money in UFC, blah, 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 which I doubt. That's not his character. But great athlete, and I loved his career.
Do you enjoy the act? I'm asking this because Rumble just shocked everybody when he said that was his last fight, and he just didn't like getting punched in the face anymore, and he couldn't do it. And do you enjoy the act of preparing for a fight, sparring, getting ready? Because for him, it seemed to be a torture. He just did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I truly do enjoy it, but I also take time away from the sport. I'm not very media intensive, only when it's coming up to my fight. But when I'm out of, my fight week and not getting ready for fights, I enjoy my family. I enjoy video game. I enjoy, venturing down other avenues in my life. So when it comes time and I am fighting, I get 110% focus. And when I have guys in the gym that are amateur guys who are getting ready for the fights, I try to be there as much as I can when I'm throughout my traveling. But other than that, I have other things going on in my life, so it gives me that kind of mental break from fighting.
Did you grow up in a big or small family? Like, do you have brothers and sisters?
I had a brother and a sister, so I would say it was decent size, I guess.
Now, are either of them fighters, or was there any other fighters in your family? I'm wondering what took you in a direction very different from them, if it is in fact different from them.
It is different from them, My sister went to college. My brother, he dropped out of high school. Then my older brother, he is a correctional officer. For me, I've done a lot of sports when I was in high school and middle school, and even elementary. I was running track the whole entire time instead of chasing tail in the recess. But I just enjoyed competing, and I was working in a warehouse, and I just kept on doing amateur fights because it reminded me of wrestling when I was in high school. So with that being said, it worked out good for me, and I got hooked up with AMC Pain Creation, and I started taking normal classes there like any student there, and I just fell in love with the sport of learning about martial arts, not UFC or
Sure.
WEC. I didn't even know. I knew about UFC, but the smallest weight class was 155, 170. I didn't weigh nowhere close to that. So it was definitely different. No fighters in my family. I'm a fight.
So when you talk about wrestling in high school, you mean high school wrestling, not WWE or WWF at that time?
Yeah, high school wrestling. Yeah, not the collegiate style, not WWE.
I'd be surprised how many fighters do enjoy WWE. I mean, it's still really popular, even though the fact that there's a predetermined outcome. It doesn't seem to have hurt it at all. It seems like it's as big as it ever was, which I don't quite get.
Yeah, so some people use it as the men's soap opera. That's what a lot of women call it.
Exactly.
The men do too.
It is, right? It's like a soap opera.
Right.
It's well acted, and I think that's why the people. That's why they're all so good on the mic. Those guys, because they have to create controversy. Like you guys have real controversy. Like you and Wilson are going to punch each other in the face for real.
Yeah.
There's no controversy that needs to be created there. But if one of you came in a fucking Superman hat or whatever, like all right, we got to create something around him.
Did you say a Superman hat?
I couldn't think of a superhero costume, so I said Superman hat.
I don't think Superman wears a hat.
He doesn't.
The one time I tried.
Shame on you.
I'm sorry, but if he
dare
did,
you?
That'd be controversial. Yeah.
Should have said a Superman's cape or something. I'm
that's
sorry,
stupid.
Jimmy.
Superman hat. You're right.
You're right.
I just thought of
I
it.
only get insulted when you bring up superheroes and you get it wrong.
I get it wrong all the time. Are you a superhero guy?
I am.
Which one do you like? Who do you like the most?
I like Batman the most. Black Panther, he's also cool. I mean, there's so many of them. Iron Man's legit. Spider-Man, Venom, they're all legit.
Why Batman? I'm interested.
Oh, Batman, because he wasn't a guy. You know, it was Bruce Wayne. Nobody knew who he was, and he was very well mannered. And then when it was time for him to put on the Batcape, he would go put it on, and nobody knew who he was. And he kept a very low profile.
How do you like the movies? The movies that are out with the superhero movies.
They're awesome. I mean, I think the last Wolverine movie was awesome. It was rated R. Deadpool was rated R. Yeah. And I think I read somewhere that they're going to start going in that direction for rated R movies for superheroes because, you know, you can't really capture the essence of a character unless you can give it 100%. Like a guy who, for me, growing up, watching the comic books of Spider-Man or reading them, you know, when they finally had Spider-Man 3 and they had Venom on there, that was not Venom one bit, you know. Yeah. You can say, we are Venom, and all that stuff. So it was very hard for me. But now they're going in the direction of rated R movies, which should be fun.
Wolverine, I thought was great. I'm not even Logan. I'm not even a gigantic comic book movie guy, but I thought Logan was incredible. It's just rated R movies don't make what PG-13 movies make. That's why they did it. But now that Deadpool, I think, broke that, and Logan made a lot, now they'll start doing it, which is really great.
Agreed.
But I thought The Dark Knight was a great film.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, with Heath Ledger's the Joker, he made him a sociopath.
So good, so good. Dark Knight? You a Dark Knight fan, or you a Batman fan?
Yeah. Dark Knight was a good one. You know, it was really dark. It really captured the essence of the Joker by how I was like, I'm gonna blow this hospital up, I'm gonna do this and that, and he would actually do it. And that was PG-13. That wasn't rated R. So, I mean, you can get away with it with, you know, PG-13 movies, but, like, it's like, okay, we're going to make the new Predator that's coming out. They're rebooting Predator. It's going to be G-rated. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not going to work out. But this new Predator is going to be rated R. Alien Covenant, which is, the next franchise to be put on with it's basically the Alien sequel. It's rated R. So they're keeping it in that horror, gore film where the reason why they do all these superhero movies in PG-13 is because they don't want to miss out on the market for the kids.
Yeah, and they watch movies over and over again. That's where they can make a lot of their money from is repeat business because they'll go watch a movie twice. Now, I'm a 3D guy. Logan, I was very annoyed I could not see in 3D. Matt knows that. I'm a big 3-dimension guy, a big Sony IMAX guy. Do you not give a shit or do you prefer it?
I prefer IMAX, but I don't really care for 3D.
Now, a lot of people don't like 3D. I don't know why. Does it make you nauseous or you just don't like it?
I just don't like it. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't really care about seeing bullets being shot towards me. Something about 3D. I mean, unless it's like, you know, Avatar was cool in 3D. Yep. I mean, there's some movies that are like, if a movie's built for just 3D, then it'll be cool. But if a movie has to be, you know, they made the movie in like no 3D, then they're like, okay, we're going to add 3D effects to certain parts of the movie. And you get with them glasses, then I'm not a fan of it.
Well, they tried it with Titanic. They did exactly what you just said. They added a couple things to Titanic to make it 3D, and there was a girl I was trying to fuck, so I went with her. And A, I hated it, and B, we didn't have sex, so it was a fucking total bust of an evening.
There you go.
All right, well, good luck, buddy. Always a fun time chatting with you. Of course, the main event here this Saturday from Kansas City. Demetrious is fighting Wilson Hayes. The number 3 ranked flyweight in the world. And it's a great card overall, too. It is on Fox, 8 o'clock this week. So UFC Fight Night. Good luck.
Good luck, champ.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, talk to you again.
Take care, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
He doesn't like when you get naughty.
I don't care.
Because he goes, no, I like because you say something, then he'll be like, up there you go.
Yeah.
He's a proper guy.
He's a married guy with kids, a very polite dude.
I am, and look at me. I'm a fuckwad.
But you're not, he's a politer guy. He's a more conservative guy with that stuff.
He's a little conservative. That's the word. Yeah. You say, I knew. The second you were saying, the girl I took, I was trying to fuck her. And
I knew.
The second, I'm like, I know what he's going to say. And the second you were done, he goes, up there you go. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love
just like when we tried to talk about the cock pill. Listen, it's not, I feel like
I was actually just talking in general about getting popped.
He
said
feel like
his penis works fine.
I feel like telling him, champ, it's not you, it's us. We're the ones who have met.
I don't think
it's really not him, it's us.
He knows that.
We got some fucking problems, me and you.
Yep.
You have an extra cock pill on you?
No, I don't carry them.
I don't need. I'm gonna surprise my wife when she comes home.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna chop them up and snort them. Sorry, I took it too far.